Hello, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about reasons why your site is slow. Now, to understand how to speed your site up, you really need to understand first and foremost what is slowing it down. There are hundreds and hundreds of different reasons. Our goal here is the 20-80 rule, meaning we're going to find the most common variables and focus on them. Basically, this means we'll perform little tweaks here and there to get the biggest impact. So, instead of trying to teach you hundreds of different variables, which would be time-consuming and very overwhelming, we'll look at little tweaks. What I advise you to do is implement each one of these step by step. However, each of these tweaks can take a good amount of time. Some of them will take less, some of them will take more, but some of these will make a huge impact on how fast your site loads. So, let's start. Number 1. Remember, your WordPress site has just way too many things in it. It's bloated with too much code, too many plugins, or too many pages, posts, images, and everything else. It just has way too much data in it. If you think about your computer, you know that if you add too many things onto your PC or your Mac computer, as an analogy here, then your computer will become slower and slower and slower. Same concept here as well. If your WordPress site has too many things, or your web hosting is just too slow, that's the number one reason why your site loads slow. When it comes hosting companies, this is your reason number 2. Sometimes the plan that you're under can actually impact how slow and how fast your site loads. Now, bear in mind that the reality is that WordPress sites in general, after they have become bloated, they use a lot of CPU and server resources. I want to be clear here to say that when you install WordPress by default, with nothing on it, it usually runs very fast. But later, when things are added to it like plugins, images, or other code, then WordPress site tends to slow down. Another issue is that the majority of websites are hosted on shared hosting, and we'll talk more about that later on. Because it is on shared hosting, you're essentially sharing a server with hundreds or more other people. Of course, they will impact your site. It's not necessarily that you're doing anything wrong. So for example, on shared hosting, if you have other people crashing the server, then you're affected as well. That simply means that your whole website will become slow, because with shared hosting, you're sharing the server with thousands of people. It's like you're sharing a house, essentially, with hundreds of other people, and you're all using the same kitchen or the same bathroom. And of course, we'll discuss this later on. Number 3. Your images are way too big. One thing that a lot of us forget about is that different people have different internet speeds. Some are on slower speeds, and some are on faster speeds. Just because you have a faster speed doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else has a faster speed. So if it loads faster for you, it may not run fast for other people. There's something to bear in mind. If your images are way too big, then they need to be squeezed down. According to Google, images often take about 60% of total page weight. They take up too much room, and you need to size them down. This means that most websites are being slowed down because they have way too many images that are just taking too long to load. Nowadays, there are plugins, platforms, and software applications out there that will help you essentially speed up and optimize all of your images all at once without ever having to get into Photoshop. The next one is hot linking. Hot linking means displaying an image on a website by linking to the website hosting the image. The link gets the source data of the picture each time it is needed. This means somebody else could be linking to your site, your images, or your videos. What they're doing is sending traffic to those images and videos, and you'll be getting people that don't even know that they're your images, and they're just stealing your images. If that's the case, they're essentially using your bandwidth and your server resources, so be aware of that. The next thing is caching. Caching is essentially what your internet browser does when you visit sites on a regular basis. Your browser usually saves tons and tons of images and other files like HTML files, CSS files, and other files, so that when you go back to that website at a later date, it's already sitting on your computer, and therefore it loads super fast. You can do the same thing with WordPress. We'll discuss about that later on as well. The next thing that could help your speed is content delivery networks. What that means is, basically, let's say if you're using a hosting company from the USA, And if somebody is connecting to you from the other side of the world, let's say from the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, or Philippines, maybe Russia, or anywhere else, and they come to your website, their computer has to travel all the way through the internet to the USA server just to view your website. As you can imagine, that will literally slow things down to a halt, even if it runs super fast on your side, because let's say you are in the USA. Next to the server, your visitors have to go all the way over there, or vice versa. This really goes to slow things down, especially if your customer base is all over the world. So, content delivery networks, or in short, CDNs, are basically web hosting data centers that are positioned all over the world, in all the places that I mentioned just now. Let's say, for example, that you're using a CDN, and those servers are placed strategically all over the world close to those people. So when somebody goes to your website, instead of having to travel all the way back to USA, they essentially are going to go to the location that is nearest to them. That's what a CDN is all about. Those can be very, very powerful. We'll talk about the different types of CDNs out there in our next lessons. With that said, let's move on.